Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Braden, and today we're going to cover the process of swapping your base model 2003 to 2007 Cadillac CTS with an LS out of a Chevy truck. I feel like there's a lot of interest in this swap, but not a lot of information on it. Once I start this swap, I'll be sure to document everything to create a build series for this channel. I think you will be surprised at just how cheap this swap is. Everyone on the internet says just to buy a CTS-V, but let's be real. That's out of a lot of people's budgets. I have been thinking about doing this swap for a while, so I just thought I would make a quick video covering the basis of what parts are needed and what the total price would be to help people gauge interest and to prove people on the forums wrong. So let's just start off with introducing my CTS that I have, and I'll be using this for the swap. It's a 2005 with a 3.6 liter. I picked it up in 2021 for $500 in running and driving condition. The interior and body condition on it are both great. Gauging Facebook Marketplace, you can find base model CTSs for sale all day underneath $1,000, even in 2025. Usually the timing chains are broke on them. So the first thing you'll have to do is remove the engine and transmission from it to make room for an LS. I live in the Rust Belt, so it's pretty common to see Chevy Silverados with rusted out frames. This is the Silverado that I picked up for the swap. It's a 99 1500 with a 4.8 and a 4L60. I'll be using this drivetrain for the swap. I picked this whole vehicle up for $300, and I know for a fact that it runs good. Whenever you get an engine for your swap, make sure you get it as complete as possible, meaning do not just buy a long block and then piece it all together. Just buy a running, driving vehicle and take that drivetrain out of there. That's the simplest and easiest way to do an LS swap. You don't have to do this for your swap, but on mine I'm going to upgrade my cam, springs, and torque converter. I want my CTS to sound mean and have a little bit more power and have a nasty chop, so I'm going to go with the Truck Plus cam and spring kit from Richard Holdner Performance. It should add about 75 horsepower over the stock cam. This seems like a great deal for $280 to get a cam and spring package. The lift is 585 on the intake and exhaust, and the lobe separation angle is 111 degrees. I usually just run a $65 eBay Chinese sloppy stage 2 cam and pack 1218 valve springs, but I've been checking lately, and pack springs are about $230 now, so I'm going to go and change it up and go with the Truck Plus cam for this LS and see how it runs. This is the budget torque converter that is an upgrade from the stock torque converter. You can pick this up from O'Reilly's for $180. This should really complement the cam that I'm going to run, as a stock 4L60E converter is around an 1800 stall, and this budget one is a 2200 stall. Again, just like the cam kit, this torque converter is not needed for a swap. It's just something that I personally want for my own car. So instead of using the stock computer and harness, I'm going to go with the Ace's fuel injection jackpot kit. I usually see these on Facebook all the time. Idiots who don't know how to install them, getting rid of them for roughly $500. So I'll pick one up off of there instead of buying a new one. I've ran this kit before, and I'm a big fan of Ace's. Everything is plug and play, and it's really easy. Plus you have all the gauges on the screen. So it's definitely nice that it comes with the screen for gauges, because I won't be using the factory CTS gauges anymore. These kits are seriously half the price of a Holley Terminator, and they run just as well. Everything was all plug and play on my last one I did, and the engine fired right up. I couldn't have been more impressed with it for the money. These are available on eBay, and I'm not sure if I'm going to use them yet, but they are ICT billet CTS-V to iron block. CTS-Vs come with aluminum block LSs, so in order to use a truck engine, you have to get this bracket. I'm not sure if I'm going to use this yet, because if I get these brackets, I'll still need to buy the motor side motor bracket that goes on top of your rubber motor mount. I'm not sure if I'll do that yet, or if I'll kind of scour some Facebook groups and find some homemade engine mounts. But for $240, this is kind of a steep price for these brackets, especially since small block Chevy LS adapters for clamshells, I mean, they're $30, so they're roughly the same size with the same amount of holes. So I guess I don't understand the markup. I'm going to try to not have to use these, but if I have to use these, that's what I got to do. Instead of running the truck exhaust manifolds, I chose to run this cheap pair of headers for a CTS-V from eBay. These are $250. I chose these because it looks like they will bolt up to the factory exhaust on a base model CTS. So your exhaust that you already have on your car, it should bolt right up to a base model CTS. So that'll be nice. It'll save a lot instead of having to, turn up the exhaust and weld on it and get to the truck manifold. You can pretty much just bolt these right in and get going. It just seems like it's the easiest. And plus, with adding a cam to the engine, it should help with sound and all that, and performance-wise a little bit. So I figured for $250, it'll be worth the investment. Unfortunately for CTSs, there's not enough clearance underneath the hood to run truck intake, or else I would, as that's the most budget-friendly option. LS intakes aren't cheap, so I just found a cheap intake manifold that's a low profile that came with the fuel rail and throttle body. It seems like it's one of the more cheaper options, even though it's $450. But you gotta do what you gotta do. I'll be using a drive-by cable throttle body, so I plan on just using the pedal and making something work with the factory pedal and throttle cable from the Silverado. I plan on just using the radiator and the electric fans that are already in the Cadillac. I'm going to put a 2010 Camaro water pump on it, along with changing out the accessory bracket, because I think that the stock one from the Silverado is too tall and the alternator will hit the hood. So they make aftermarket brackets on eBay that kind of change to your power steering pump and your alternator, so it's more out of the way. Next part I need is just a cheap $40 fuel pressure regulator from eBay. I'll need to run one of these because I'm changing the intakes out. So right on the inside of the rear bumper on a base model CTS, there's dual exhaust, and about 6 inches in after the end of the exhaust tip, there's the mufflers. So it should be pretty easy to cut those stock mufflers off and add on these cheap Flowmaster mufflers, along with some nice looking chrome exhaust tips. It should sound pretty good with the headers and the cam. These mufflers are only $50 for 2 of them, and the tips are about $60. So for about $100, I figured the muffler and tips would be a nice buy. Here's a little reference guide I put together on Excel of all the parts that I just covered. I didn't factor in the price of a custom drive shaft that needs to be made for the 4L60. It's a 2-piece drive shaft on a base model CTS. I'll have to go to a 1-piece for the 4L60. I'll have to have it custom made by a drive shaft shop. I'm just guesstimating that it'll cost around $500. It might be more, it might be less, but I factored in $500 into the budget for that. I also had to factor in, random things such as I had to buy a new belt for it. I had to get fluids. I had to figure out how to connect the 4L60 to the shifter. And then there will also be some random wiring stuff that I need and air filters. So that'll have to factor into the cost too on doing this swap. I'm sure that when I actually get to doing the swap, I'll have to factor in a few more odds and ends things into the price. But I think that for a total price of $3,550, including the cost of the car and the cost of the donor vehicle, I think that's a pretty good deal to get a CTS with an LS in it. And you don't even have to be in it for $3,500. You could completely go cheap and skip the cam springs, the torque converter. You could use your factory computer. You just gotta get the VAST laser for about $100. You can use your truck manifolds, I believe. I believe they'll fit. I think that this will be a great little fun car that'll perform better than a factory CTS-V for a heck of a lot cheaper. CTS-Vs in my area go for around 15 to 20,000. So what makes more sense to you, 15 to 20,000 or 3,500 bucks in a little bit of time and work? Once I start this project, I will make a full detailed video build series of this swap so I can help people who want to swap their base CTS. I just wanted to make this video to help outline how much money I will have to spend on it and what parts I will need. If this video has helped you out at all, or if you are interested in seeing this project take place, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.